Ladies and gentlemen, Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints are under pressure right now. The media is getting more critical and things are getting tense at press conferences.
You're going to keep asking the same question. I'm going to keep giving a lot of words and no answer, because I'm not going to tell you.
But some players are feeding into it by sending cryptic messages on social media and also getting emotional after the game.
I've been pretty frustrated throughout the years sometimes. I think this is probably the most.
Derek Carr has made his fair share of mistakes this year, but so have key star players on the Saints and some of their young rising wide receivers. There's frustration all around with how this offense has performed so far, but it seems like there are fans and reporters who are hell-bent on Derek Carr accepting more responsibility. It has gone so far where they keep asking the same questions again and again and again.
Or maybe some of the main focuses for you that you want to correct with 7 games left?
I'm never going to tell you the things I write down. You ask such great questions. You really do. I'm so sorry.
Derek Carr is used to all this attention and taking all the blame from his time with the Raiders.
Whoever they want to point at, please point at me because I can handle it.
But this time you have a former #1 quarterback in the background who's now been a career backup for the past few seasons in Jameis Winston. Based on some of his activity on social media, it seems like he's not happy about his situation right now as well. Social media is killing the Saints right now, and everybody knows it.
It's a challenge, because, everyone cares about what somebody thinks. Everybody cares, you get a tweet or you get this kind of stuff. And
sports Twitter is the bottom of humanity. It's where anonymous degenerates are somehow able to participate in discussions with NFL players, causing them to get provoked and lash out. It's crazy that despite all these setbacks and all this drama in the air, the Saints still have a chance to win their division. And according to their general manager, Mickey Loomis, he has said recently they're technically the 12th best offense in the NFL.
We're 12th in the league in offense. We just had a game where we had 444 yards.
Let's get into the insulting questions by beat reporters, the crazy antics on social media. Let's get into the red zone, especially from this past game, and figure out exactly what happened there. It's important to remember that the Saints were under the impression they desperately needed a quarterback this past offseason. Jameis Winston was not the answer, and it seemed like the players believed that as well, which is why when Derek Carr was traded to the New Orleans Saints, you had Michael Thomas on social media say, "Thank you, Jesus." He posted a lot of messages saying that he was excited to get to work, and Derek Carr himself said that Michael Thomas was a big reason why he joined the team. The Saints offense has been capable of making big plays this year, but there are moments when they just cannot convert on third down. They struggle in the red zone, of course, and there have been times where it seems like routes are not done, people are forgetting plays, and Derek Carr in earlier pressers seemed critical and frustrated.
Because there was some things, and I'm not going to tell you, but there were some things that happened today that led to some pretty big negative plays that should never happen.
Yes, we may be running the same play, but a new defense presents different looks. When we break the huddle, what is my assignment versus that look? What is my assignment when the picture changes a little bit than what I saw in practice?
We don't run a proper route. There's something that happens that, keeps us from being able to score touchdowns down there.
The frustration ultimately boiled over into a primetime game when we saw this right here, where Derek Carr famously yelled at Chris Olave after Chris Olave sort of gave up on a route. Like we said before, this isn't the first time that stuff like this has happened, and seeing that frustration on TV created a huge problem, so much so that it became a big topic of discussion for fans. They wanted to investigate and know about this play. Did Olave really give up on a route? And you have Nick Underhill here of New Orleans Football taking stock of the fact that Olave said he'd take the blame on that play, but it turns out he was not part of the progression. He was supposed to clear out some space for Taysom Hill, and Michael Thomas, the man who previously said "Thank you, Jesus," well, he wanted to chime in on this whole debacle, pretty much echoing what the reporter was saying, which is that Olave was not part of the progression and his only advice would be for him to try to clear the space out. Either way, Dennis Allen backed Carr, saying that these routes were not run correctly.
He didn't run that route the way that it needs to be run. So that's what happens. So we end up having a throwaway there.
The key thing to remember is that this incident there on television was one of many incidents, and internally, Carr and Olave seemed to be fine and on the same page. The big issue during that whole debacle was Michael Thomas going from "Thank you, Jesus" to now chiming in on social media about some of the discussions with plays on the Saints this year. Obviously, you want to keep things internal. You'll want to resist the temptation of chiming in on Twitter, but this will be a pattern that we noticed by Michael Thomas. Thomas and something that he tends to do a lot. More unprofessional behavior comes after a Carolina Panthers game, a game in which the Saints won, when Derek Brown tries to confront him after the game. Michael Thomas talks trash on Derek Brown, but at the same time, he's sort of running away. I mean, I don't know. He throws up his West Side Crip Gang is what they're claiming here. I don't know if he actually says that. And originally, I laughed. I thought this was just some funny trash talk early in the season. But we've since noticed some more odd behavior by Michael Thomas. He was arrested by Kenner police, and he was fortunately not suspended by the NFL, and nothing really happened there as of now. But the allegation is quite intense. When a construction worker was parked in front of his house, Michael Thomas slapped their phone out of their hands, threatened these guys. And according to the police, Michael Thomas picked up a brick and threw it at the windshield of the truck, causing little, if any, damage. In addition to knocking the phone out of the hand, he also shoved him and told him he did not want to be recorded.
Fourth time after you threaten me, no, people are gonna have to know like what kind of person you are, because that's wrong. You don't go around doing, I don't care who you are.
These were just misdemeanor charges, but it just showed more unprofessionalism, more of a hot temper by Michael Thomas. Construction workers are gonna park in front of your house. You don't own the entire road. Michael Thomas has since been on IR since week 11, and maybe that's the best thing based on some of his social media posts where he's kind of, throwing shade at the team and throwing shade at Derek Carr. He posted on Instagram after the week 12 game against the Falcons, "We know the truth, some do, some don't," and it's a clip, and in this clip, it's a video of Drew Brees talking about how Michael Thomas is always open.
Well, he knows when he gets open, I throw it to him. It's the job of the quarterback, right? Find the open guy, throw it to him.
Michael Thomas is on IR. His season is over, so he's likely very frustrated. The Saints were in first place in the division, but as of right now, they are second. That could still change. But it seems like he's unhappy that he wasn't having the bounce back year he thought he was going to have. Keep in mind, this is a guy who hasn't really had a full season since 2019. Thomas has also seemed frustrated on the field because he has not been getting the ball as much as he'd like. What's so crazy is this is a play that's a completion to Juwan Johnson, and for some reason, the beat reporter Nick Underhill is bringing this up of Michael Thomas having some frustration. You have Michael Thomas here frustrated that he wasn't getting the ball, but this play resulted in a great play for the Saints in which the tight end got a big completion. So it's kind of odd to just screen share and highlight points when Michael Thomas should be getting the ball. The guys shouldn't be frustrated if they still had some progress on that play. But clearly, based on this post while he's on IR, he seems to be frustrated. What was so funny is this reporter talked about the Carr burner accounts can chill out. We're looking at why a player didn't get targeted. Not everything has to be a weird conversation about the QB, which is so ironic for this guy because this reporter, hands down, I've tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he puts absolutely everything on Derek Carr. Which makes sense though. He's gonna stick up for the players who he's been around for some time while covering the Saints. Derek Carr's the new guy, the new cat. But prior to this, you had most people around Saints media targeting Pete Carmichael, the offensive coordinator. Pete Carmichael would just be harassed by the media at press conferences. He even had Juwan Johnson, the tight end, say he doesn't like how the media is coming at Pete. He thinks it's whack. Well, if he thinks it's whack, he should talk to Alvin Kamara, who would say at press conferences that Pete was good today. He has criticized the offensive coordinator's play calling openly in public at press conferences before.
I know our whole playbook in and out. So when Pete don't call this shit, I'm like, damn, Pete.
At the same time, Derek Carr has looked heated publicly as well. Not only the Chris Olave situation that we showed you earlier, but there's moments when Derek Carr has been yelling on the sideline, upset about the situation, upset about some people not getting their assignments right, just upset overall that they're not executing at the level that he thinks they could. And this has rubbed people the wrong way. This has rubbed reporters the wrong way, and it's likely rubbed some players the wrong way based on some of the activity on social media and some of the things that we're seeing lately. But it's not like Derek Carr is entirely wrong here. There's been moments when players haven't been on their assignments, and there's been moments like Derek Carr in this last game was not super careful with the football and ended up throwing a pick six. However, this defender did make a good play, and even the announcer in the game against the Falcons said that the safety Jesse Bates just studied his tape real well.
Up in that route, that's great preparation during the course of the week to know what New Orleans likes in the red zone.
There have been moments when everything is gravy, when Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave are celebrating in the end zone and you got Derek Carr at the tail end of it, also breaking it down as well. But there's also been moments when you see Derek Carr give up early on plays, go more conservative to throw it away, and it seemed like his tough love approach that he did early in the season when he was more vocal, getting after players for not being on their assignments, it seems like maybe that was a miscalculation, and now he has said he's trying to be more positive and not be negative at all.
But I promised you guys, and I promised my team that I was going to be super positive about everything, and I get very frustrated. You know, I wear everything on my sleeve usually, and I've just been trying to be better at that because everyone's trying to do the right thing.
Reporters who previously acted like Derek Carr was an asshole for yelling, for making some comments saying that people were doing things that were unacceptable, now they're upset that Derek Carr is keeping the conversation in-house as to what's going on with the team, what are the problems with the red zone struggle, and now they're criticizing the guy as if he's avoiding the questions when he's literally trying to do what people ask him to do, which is keep all that stuff in-house.
Wants to hear the answers, but we just don't, we keep them in-house. I appreciate everyone wanting to have us to just say everything we've been feeling and say everything that we've seen on tape and say all the coaching points and all those things, but I'll never do that. And so
Alvin Kamara, the one who was throwing Pete Carmichael under the bus, now seems distant with this regime right now. He said the offense does not have an identity. He said that they need to find some solutions on offense and stop talking about it.
We don't have an identity as a team. We're a team that says we want to do and we don't do, and it shows. We're consistently inconsistent.
All of that is true, but he has not exactly been a solution this year at all whatsoever. The running game has struggled tremendously with the New Orleans Saints this year, and there have been moments when Alvin Kamara has made some mistakes himself, didn't know his assignment. The question is, does he still think that the issue is Pete Carmichael, or does he think it's the coaching staff as a whole, or Derek Carr?
Obviously, that's probably a better question for Alvin to answer. I wouldn't say that we don't have an identity. I thought we came out in the game. I thought we ran the ball effectively. I thought we were able to get the ball down the field effectively. That if we don't make critical mistakes in those situations, we're probably having a different discussion up here.
He hasn't made any subtle hints that diss Derek Carr, unlike Michael Thomas. And honestly, he's sort of an interesting guy at press conferences, and just because he had this odd reaction when asked about getting Derek Carr back.
What does that do for you guys, knowing that he's good to go for the game?
I mean, he's starting quarterback, so it definitely helps. I mean, he missed the second half last game. So
many people are taking this as a diss at Derek Carr, but I think this is a huge stretch. Kamara even specified, saying that he just thought it was an odd question because Derek Carr did not miss much time. It was just a quarter and some change. It's not like he missed a game or anything. Plus, they're coming off a bye. And Derek Carr has been able to start every game, but he has missed some time, taking some devastating blows and devastating hits. He's previously said that this is the most banged up he's ever been in a single season. The Saints offensive line has struggled in the running game, not so much in the passing game as of late, but earlier in the season it was a disaster. The biggest issue with the Saints locker room, in my opinion, has to do with the backup quarterback, who's a little bit upset that his career has not gone the way he thought it would go. And that is Jameis Winston, who has reposted some odd things on social media when the Saints have lost games. When the Saints lost against the Texans, Winston had reposted this skit, and it says it's a little truth in comedy. And when you look at this skit, it's basically about Jameis Winston talking trash on Dennis Allen and Derek Carr during the game on the sideline with Alvin Kamara, ha ha ha, and that Winston is so upset that he's not a starter and he's just such a great guy and deserves to be a starter.
He don't even know that they be talking shit about him behind his back. When he do it, it's a problem when I do it. That's why I say, fuck him.
Even though he's been a career backup for 2 years, he's notoriously known as a first-round bust. And Jameis Winston has had some shots to come and play quarterback for the Saints this year in the second half against the Green Bay Packers. Some Saints fans did not like that, saying he couldn't even get 10 yards. And people told me he should be a starter. What's the excuse now? The Saints were up 17-0 against the Green Bay Packers by halftime. But Jameis Winston was not able to score any points at all during that time. And you have reporters desperately trying to cling on to maybe Jameis Winston being an upgrade over Derek Carr, but that is an absolute pipe dream at this point to think that Jameis Winston could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. You even have Rod Walker saying Derek Carr doesn't make that play. This is when Winston filled in during the Vikings game, and he looked a lot better, mainly because the Saints were down. He made some aggressive throws, while the Vikings, who had such a large lead, were playing some soft coverage. But Jameis Winston was classic Jameis Winston, making aggressive throws, throwing more multiple picks in the game, and right now he has 3 interceptions, almost tied with Derek Carr, who has 5 despite only throwing 42 passes. Saints fans have become so toxic, criticizing Derek Carr and his family, and now are wishful for the idea that Winston would talk trash to Derek Carr in person on TV. You saw this post go viral, claiming that Winston was rapping the lyrics to "Move Bitch, Get Out the Way" by Ludacris, when actually when you hear the song, he's not rapping that portion of it. And when you look closely at the video, Carr seems to be singing along with Winston. Saints fans are desperate for the toxicity, desperate for Winston to maybe redeem the team and be a starter, be a solution. But the reality of the situation is, even when Derek Carr was injured, even when he had a messed up shoulder, the coaching staff and the team decided not to start Winston. This must mean they're truly done with this guy and they do not think he could be a serviceable starter in the NFL. This tweet is the result of Twitter being monetized. People need their clicks. How perfect and viral would it be if it was actually true that he was rapping those lyrics to him? The problem with Twitter, the problem with highlights, is people are only going to pay attention to certain plays, like Derek Carr's pick 6, which we talked about earlier. But there were so many mistakes that were made in the red zone. One where Derek Carr did go conservative and go to throw the ball away on a blitz. But there was also A.T. Perry accidentally false starting, not running the route. You had a drop happen as well, along with some more miscommunication between Derek Carr and some other key players.
He really shouldn't have put one hand up. There's no reason for Juwan Johnson not to get 2 hands on this football and make a catch.
And most notably, you had penalties, which is where Lynn Bowden had a big play, but it was taken back due to offensive pass interference call. I say all this to say that yes, Derek Carr has not been great this year. It's definitely been a struggle on offense in the red zone. But it is true what their coaching staff says and what Derek Carr says at press conferences, which is that they have moved the football, and it's not as sad amongst the media as it is in the building.
Also, work week, do you like where they're at mentally right now?
It's not as sad as it is out here. I can promise you that.
When you're looking at all the players who seem negative, who have negative energy right now, in my opinion, it seems to be primarily Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. Michael Thomas seems to be more openly critical of the coaching staff and perhaps Derek Carr. And maybe the offense will be more productive with that guy not around, not being that much of a headache since he is on IR. And the Saints media is so hell-bent on attacking Carr, attacking him for the red zone problems, they're not even acknowledging the fact that during this game for the second half, Derek Carr had none of his starting 3 wide receivers. Lynn Bowden was his number 1 wide receiver, and at one point, 2 starting offensive linemen left the game, and they were still in striking distance and could have pulled this off. Ultimately, time will tell what's going to happen with Derek Carr, what's going to happen with former Raiders head coach Dennis Allen, who's now with the Saints. I think the GM is fully bought in with these guys. Derek Carr's contract's fully guaranteed next year and a little bit the year after. And Mickey Loomis, the GM, said himself he thinks the right people are in the building.
I believe with all my heart we got the right people in the building. I know we do. There's too many other things that are good signs.
So I think Saints fans are going to have to get used to Derek Carr. You can try to put all the blame on him. He's used to it. But ultimately, I think you have a roster that's severely overrated. I don't think Michael Thomas is Devontae Adams. And I'm sorry, Alvin Kamara, I don't think he's Christian McCaffrey. And we've seen multiple times this year some of these younger players not even knowing the right play. But at the same time, there is still a chance to win the division, and this team has made big progress. We'll see what happens with Derek Carr and the Saints towards the end of this year. Give me your thoughts and predictions on this in the comments below. My name is Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.